so he went for Deathwing instead. Jarla's just going, well, hey, I got 2 Baleful Bankers. Might as well run Deathwing and the Spell Zerker to deal with Chef Nomi.
Why don't we have both?
And so we are in game now. Hunterace, not going to be on coin for this one. Rogue is, of course, a deck that really thrives on having combo activators. So not only the additional card, but also the combo activator, pretty key to that deck.
I agree it's important. It's not quite so obvious, I would say, as with Mage, where it's just a giant, it's straight up a turn later if you're on the play rather than on the coin. Because you can do some good things going first, and typically in Hearthstone, going first has been slightly stronger throughout its history, although I would agree that the coin, when you have an Edwin in hand, obviously looks pretty juicy. One thing that we haven't even talked about, which often for me I forget, is that both these players are on the same team.
That's right.
Nordavind being a Norwegian team, I kind of associate it with the Norwegian players on the team, like obviously Hunterace, Zorkthar, NTR as well. But Jarla, one of the key members, I would argue, of that team, racking up a huge amount of points for them in the team standings last year.
Yeah, not a surprise to see them be such strong performers. When you're on teams like this, you often form pretty tight practice circles, and sometimes that information is concealed. Sometimes you're sharing it with other practice groups to just try to get ideas and really refine and hone in. But this is a collection of some of the strongest players in the world. They had a great performance on the HGG stage with Hunterace and the Norwegian team. And honestly, kind of talking about that for a second, as this opening turns are a little bit slow. I felt like the main downfall of them at the Hearthstone Global Games for the Norwegian team was that there were so many collective good minds that they kept coming up with new situations, and they couldn't actually just settle on one final play. There were just too many ideas and variables floating around.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. As a squad, they were very, very strong personalities and all so clever that they heads were bashing into each other a lot.
Very succinct.
Yes.
In terms of being good at the game. Not succinct in terms of finalizing one idea.
Succinct at being good at the game.
Yeah, they were all really in tune with being very good at it.
Oh, right, okay.
It's a terrible way to use the language. And
yeah,
that's exactly what I was trying to do.
I don't think that means what you think it means at all.
If only you had long hair and a mustache, it would just look right, you saying that.
Ah, yeah. I watched that with my girlfriend for the first time the other day. I haven't seen it before.
Really?
Had to remedy that ASAP.
Did she enjoy it?
She loved it. Everyone does.
Good.
She's a keeper.
Double Acolyte for Jarla.
Not working out perfectly, obviously, in the face of a Dread Corsair coming down before the Waggle pick even.
Yeah.
And he had to have anticipated this, because just a 3-3 coming down on 3 was either Dread Corsair or SI7 Agent. Either one very, very likely to have happened.
Also have to account for the Deadly Poison. That's
yes, good point.
Deck. Although Jarla, I think, is welcoming of a turn 3 Deadly Poison pass after it attacks an Acolyte Pain.
I think
this turn, however, Hunterace getting some beats going. Pretty weak hand overall for Hunterace, I'd say, though. Double Shadow Step, double SI7 Agent. No way to actually generate gas here.
And this is interesting from Jarla already, because I guess the kind of the unsaid thing I was thinking about in this situation is he had Warpath in hand, which can be used, obviously, to get multiple cards drawn off an Acolyte of Pain. Is that something that you should be trying to do in this matchup, or is it kind of a trap when you want to save the Warpaths to remove opponents' minions?
As with most things in Hearthstone, I think it depends. And for me, in an aggressive matchup, I tend to use Acolyte of Pain as like bootleg shield block, where I'm just trying to draw an extra card to dig for key cards, and in the meantime, absorb some life while I'm doing that. And I think Acolyte of Pain does a great job, because your opponent often fears what you're capable of when you have an Acolyte of Pain in play that goes unchecked.
And I think, especially when you're up against Hunterace's primary deck, against which you probably don't need too much card draw, because you're not going into the super late game. You just need enough removal to see the few threats that they have, and then you should be good from there.
Oh, the hand from Hunterace is not improving. But I'm looking at Hunterace's deck right now. Evil Miscreant, big pickup. Raiding Party, big pickup. Myra's Unstable Element, big pickup. And at this point, even Leroy, I think, is a big pickup, because you have 2 Shadow Steps in hand. So I think that the draws that Hunterace has that are good are extremely good. And I think the draws he has that are not so good are quite mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the nature of the beast with Rogue, I think, as a deck. When you run this many 0-cost spells, this many what were you calling them when we were talking about rogue spells the other day? Not support cards, but
Enablers?
Enablers. There's a specific word you used. I'm drawing a blank on it at the moment. But cards.
I wish I knew.
Yeah. Just support cards, you know, that don't actually really win the game. Utility cards. That's the word I was thinking of. They definitely don't win the game in their own right, but they really help you do all those little tricks that makes Rogue so powerful. But when you don't have the combo cards to go with them, it just looks absolutely miserable. And it's not even like in his deck he has Chef Nomi, with which Shadow Step is obviously unbelievably powerful, or Heist Baron Togwaggle, with which Shadow Step is unbelievably powerful. He's got Deckhand, with which Shadow Step is not unbelievably powerful. It's believably powerful.
I must choose.
I don't even know if powerful is the right word.
It's unbelievably sucky.
Sometimes it's okay.
The Derek special. Sometimes it's
okay. Well, okay, now everything's changed. Hunterace's hand now officially looks good, and I'm worried for Jarla.
And this is actually a really big deal, because I was saying, when you said Leroy was a decent top deck, when you said Leroy was decent, Jarla still had Ziliax in hand, against which you're probably not going to get there when they have Ziliax. If you're just launching Leroy's at the face every turn, they put that in your way, and it's just kind of over. Ziliax is gone. No more taunts left in hand for Jarla. He's just going to have to be relying on Armageddon to get it done against those Leroys, which doesn't always get there. It's a lot of burst.
So let's take a look at the next couple turns here. I think Jarla's probably going to be on either a Militia Commander and Armor Up, which I think is weaker than a Triple Warpath. If he goes for Triple Warpath, he's facing down 18 plus 3 over the next 3 turns. So that's 21 damage. 2 hero powers gets him out of range of that.
Yep.
And Dr. Boom gets him out of range of that as well. And so Hunterace needs to find a little bit more damage to chip away here and try to keep Jarla occupied. If Jarla gets a couple turns to survive or draws a couple of running shield blocks, Hunterace is going to need a lot of gas to get this done. And that is the opposite of a lot of gas. That is a 0-cost card that currently does nothing.
Literally does nothing. Okay, so if he picks up Myra's Unstable Element, however, which is always the key in these miserable situations for Rogue, that's when things obviously start to stick around.
Also still thinking Evil Miscreant is a great pickup for Hunterace right now. I think Life Drinkers are okay right now, and I think Waggle Pick is still a welcome sight. But Hunterace is going to be fighting an uphill battle, because as you Shadow Step your own Leroys and add whelps to your opponent's board, that chip damage really adds up fast. It seems like it doesn't, but you know, players fight the whole game to get an extra minion on board.
And so what do we got here? We have quote-unquote lethal next turn for Hunterace. Obviously that never comes to fruition unless he gets a little bit of extra juice.
Eviscerate?
That's what I'm thinking. So if Jarla does not play Dr. Boom or Weapons Project or Shield Block, which he obviously would every time.
This is an interesting spot now. For Jarla, I'm actually curious. God, I'm going to sound crazy again. If you shield block and armor up in this spot, you get 7 armor immediately, you get to hero power again, and then you get to play the Dr. Boom. I think it's the fear of what happens if Hunterace just has the perfect combination of cards and you don't get that armor. But now his passive armor gain is gone.
Yeah, so this time, the non-Dr. Boom play, I can fully see your point. This one I actually understand, and I think there's a lot of merit to not going for it. I still think I would have gone for this line of play, because
I mean, he did it awfully quick, though. Jarla was so considerate of every turn, right up until that point, where it was like almost a reflex for him to simply play it.
You still have to be somewhat afraid of them sticking a board. Actually, no, you don't have to be afraid of them sticking a board.
Not at all. Your hand is great. But it's not great if you can't sustain your life total. The Ziliax is gone, and all you have now is a shield block and hope to roll 7 armor from Dr. Boom. I think this Dr. Boom was a mistake. You don't need rush on your minions. You don't need extra value. You need extra health.
I'm starting to believe you, and I hate it. This shouldn't be happening. Obviously, this is cast division getting to us, right? Like, you know, the fact that it was...
What else is Hunterace's hand? He didn't play anything for like 90 turns.
Well, no, okay, sorry. So you do have to be afraid of board control if they hit Myra's. That's what you need to be afraid of, right? Is if they hit exactly Myra's. And if they hit that, you need powerful removal to be able to fight back against it.
The other thing for Jarla, here's where I'll give him a benefit of playing the Dr. Boom. Number one, it does give him a chance to find mechs that can outright end the game.
Yeah.
Aziliax here, I think, can outright end the game for Jarla.
He never beats
Number
Aziliax.
two, it gets Hunterace to commit to the Leroy Jenkins plan, which plays his hand face up and gives you information of exactly what you need to do to win the game. So while I still think it was inferior, because I would a lot of times tend to assume that Hunterace's hand was something exactly like what it was. Some amount of burst damage that can't affect the board and can't develop for him. You have a clear image of how to play around that.
But I think even then, you beat that hand. Even if Jarla could see Hunterace's hand, he can figure out the amount of damage his opponent has, even if it's the highest amount of damage possible in Leroy, Abyss, and Shadow Step, which is what it was. He's still in a decent position there because he has the armor gain necessary to survive against that. And therefore, if you can beat that, you should prepare to play around Myra's, which is what Jarla did by playing the Doctor Boom, because it would allow him to fight back against the minions that Myra's would develop.
Long story short, it's a complicated turn.
Yeah, this game is already very complicated from Jarla's side. Hunterace's side, I would say, to be perfectly honest, his hand kind of played itself.
Yes.
For the most part, he had to just launch everything to face. There was no other game plan here. He did it right. It's not a discredit to him. He did everything he needed to do.
But things have fallen apart.
I thought that was Raiding Party. The blue tint on it as it came up this other side.
Nope. Just a spirit of the shark.
I mean, he's not dead, and it's not that bad. If he can get Miscreant next turn...
That's the thing. He still just needs the payoff cards.
Yeah.
Miscreants. Myra's.
Raiding Party's fine. So it's all right. It's pretty good.
I think Wagglepick is an okay draw. You just saw your opponent use a weapons project. There's still some ways that Hunterace gets into this game, but that clock is going to tick down awfully quick. I think Jarla should really be considering just what's the most damage I can put in play.
So is that just a Mega Devastator to just try and close things out?
Let's say you Devastator and Banker. Let's just say that you do that. So that'd be 6 extra.
Oh, no, you don't want a Banker though, right? Because every card you shuffle in is bad. You want to get through to the shield blocks and weapons project.
Let's just say it's an Owl then.
I would prefer Owl to Baleful Bank.
Same amount of attack. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It'd be 14 damage. So 4 damage on the following turn would win the game. But I don't think Jarla has 4 damage in the immediacy in the deck. So the find, oh boy, it's do or die time.
Oh, that's a draw.
Wait a minute. 4. Wait a minute. Does Hunterace have a chance to win here? Double South Sea Deckhand? So double South Sea Deckhand would have been 4 damage. Waggle Pick is 4, that's 8. And then you could bounce 1 South Sea Deckhand back to hand for 9, 10. He was 1 damage off lethal with the perfect outcome.
He would have had mana for that as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Because he had the prep with the raiding party.
Damn. Has he played one deckhand already so far this year? I don't think
He is not.
Whew, getting very close indeed. And so now we need to think about how he sequences this. We've now obviously seen the weapons project, or one of them at least, from Jarla, the one that we know he has in hand.
I think if you're in Hunterace's spot, you Waggle Pick, you Spirit of the Shark, you hit face for 4, and you hope that you draw it next turn.
Is there any downside to playing Spirit of the Shark?
I don't think there is. I think that
Brawl,
the yearly
obviously.
benefit...
If you top take Myra's next turn, it's another
the
card.
downside would be the Waggle Pick activation.
Oh, it could, yes. Yeah, it could bounce back the Spirit of the Shark, right?
Blood and plunder.
But I mean, he knows that there's the 7 armor gain.
Oh!
Jarla next turn. Yeah. Yeah.
That is massive.
However, if Hunterace hadn't... Oh no, sorry, he could have just Warpath to clear up the minions. Yeah, okay.
Okay, then.
I mean, Hunterace is at the mercy of the draws right now. That's the way his hand panned out, and that's exactly what he's played to.
So he's got deck hand in hand. Jarla goes up to 14, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I'm really struggling to find a way here for Hunterace. It has to be Myra's.
Okay, then.
Myra's with life drinkers.
Yeah, Myra's can get there.
Eviscerate.
Myra's can get there, I think.
I still think Evil Miscreant.
But he has to get it this turn.
Evil Miscreant's still very powerful as well.
He has the activator, he has the Spirit of the Shark in play, unless we were to see triple Warpath, which obviously stops the Harrison, so you wouldn't go for that.
I love that
Yeah.
fuse thing.
Miscreant can do things.
The card is, it's just scary.
We're looking at like 4 of the Ethereal Lackeys, or even just 4 of the Kobold Lackeys. That's a huge amount of damage.
I mean, it's got to be now, though. 4 Kobold Lackeys is 16 damage, by the way. 4 Kobold Lackeys is just lethal.
You are correct.
Because the Spirit of the Shark doubling the damage on
So
them.
Miscreant is potentially just lethal.
Instead, it's Bloodsail Corsair.
Yeah, that's not it.
And that means Jarla is going to take game 1 in kind of scary fashion, honestly. Like, with how many turns Hunterace had, where one critical draw could completely change the landscape. That's why Jarla